If you were walking through a dark forest at night, you would know you were surrounded by unseen dangers. The modern digital landscape operates on the exact same principle. You are moving through a space defined by invisible predators, constantly testing the perimeter. We interact with sleek interfaces daily, but beneath that polished surface, the digital architecture fractures into a chaotic exchange of data where automated attacks occur. To defend against these movements, we have to isolate the mechanics of an attack. It begins with a threat. A threat is the active, looming danger, the predator searching for an opening to steal data or disrupt services. But a threat cannot succeed without a vulnerability. A vulnerability is the specific structural weakness in your system's defense. Think of it as an unpatched software bug or a physical door left slightly ajar. When a threat actor identifies that weakness, they apply an exploit. This is the specialized tool or technique crafted to bypass that exact vulnerability and force a system breach. This equation allows security teams to move from guessing to predicting. By isolating the threat from the vulnerability, we can begin to map the enemy's exact arsenal across 5 specific domains. The first domain is malware. Short for malicious software, these programs are written to infiltrate your devices, steal your information, or destroy the core code your hardware relies on. Specific malware types act as digital extortion. Ransomware, like WannaCry, encrypts your critical files and demands an untraceable cryptocurrency payment, locking you out of your own machine until the ransom is met. These kinds of digital infections have serious physical consequences. The WannaCry outbreak paralyzed the internal networks of the UK's hospital systems, shutting down diagnostic equipment and forcing the diversion of ambulance routes. While malware targets code, the second domain, social engineering, targets human psychology. Attackers recognize that it is often significantly faster and cheaper to manipulate a person into granting access than it is to brute force a password vault. This is achieved through high-pressure tactics. Attackers might fabricate an urgent email from a CEO or pose as a bank official on a phone call, all with the singular goal of harvesting valid login credentials. A company can invest millions in enterprise-grade firewalls, but that technical perimeter vanishes the moment an employee is manipulated into providing their own legitimate access details. Beyond individual devices, we find network threats. These attacks target information while it is actively moving across digital pathways, rather than resting on a hard drive. If you connect to an insecure network, an attacker positions themselves between your device and the destination server. As data packets flow, the attacker silently duplicates and stores your sensitive information in real time, leaving you completely unaware. The fourth domain moves from the pathways to the targets, web and application threats. These assault the public-facing storefronts and databases of major organizations. Attackers look for flaws in a website's input fields. By typing malicious code directly into a search bar, they can force the internal database to dump millions of private user records onto the open internet. The fifth domain moves beyond individual profit and targets national infrastructure. These are the advanced and emerging threats. At this level, we find advanced persistent threats, or APTs. These are highly funded, incredibly stealthy espionage campaigns, typically operated by nation-state intelligence agencies over months or years. As an organization expands its operations into the global cloud, the threats it faces evolve from local smash-and-grab attempts into patient, coordinated warfare. In modern cybersecurity, the most sophisticated attackers rarely limit themselves to a single category. They layer these threat types to bypass multiple layers of defense. The 2020 SolarWinds hack is the defining example of this convergence. The attackers recognized that fortified government networks were too difficult to hit directly, so they targeted a trusted software vendor instead. They embedded malicious code inside a routine, digitally signed software update. When 18,000 customers downloaded that legitimate update, they unknowingly bypassed their own firewalls for the attackers. The fallout included Fortune 500 companies and critical federal agencies, including the U.S. Treasury Department. This breach succeeded by combining software supply chain manipulation, custom malware, and the patient long-term stealth of an advanced persistent threat. Mapping these 5 categories provides the blueprint necessary to defend the digital perimeter. Now that we have identified the weapons, we must look at the actors who use them.